Well, this weekend, a lot of people will be firing up the grill for the first time of the year. But after a long winter, sometimes we tend to forget how to take care of ourselves in the warmer weather. Simple things like the importance of staying hydrated can actually skip our minds. We've got your back this afternoon with a few tips on how to have a safe holiday. ABC's Chief Health and Medical Editor, Dr. Richard Besser, joins me live now with what we really need to think about this holiday weekend. Dr. Besser, great to see you as always.
Good to be here, Keith.
Nice seeing you. All right, we are expecting a lot of sunshine in Connecticut this weekend. What's really the rule of thumb for staying safe and hydrated in these kind of conditions?
Well, it's really important that you have access to a lot of water and that your kids have access to a lot of water. You know, after a long winter, we're not used to thinking about hydration. But if you think back to last summer when the heat was really bearing down, we saw a lot of people suffer from the issues of too much sun, sunstroke, and you can prevent that by just making sure you're drinking water.
Doctor, when do you know you might be running into a problem as far as the hydration? What are the signs that you might be getting into a bad area?
Well, if you're feeling lightheaded, if you're having any difficulty in terms of how you're thinking, if your heart is racing, those are signs that you're not getting enough water. If you're going to be spending the day outside, it's good to prehydrate and make sure you're drinking a lot of water before you go out. And the ones you really have to watch out for are young children. They're at greater risk because they will lose more water from their bodies when they're out playing. Babies in particular want to make sure that you're keeping them in the shade.
We're going to get a lot of sunshine, as I mentioned, this weekend here in Connecticut, which means the potential is there for people to get sunburned. What should people think about when they're going out in the sun, that beating sun for the first time of this new year?
Yeah, you know, we talk about this every year, but the survey that came out this week shows we're just not getting the message. Fewer than 20% of men are using sunscreen regularly, a little higher for women. But the key things are you have to use enough, at least an ounce every time you apply it. You have to do it often enough, and that's every hour and a half to 2 hours. If you go in the water, you have to apply it more frequently. And you want to use a sunscreen that's at least an SPF 30, broad spectrum, so it covers both A and B. But we're not good. You can't expect that bottle of sunscreen to last all season. If you're outside a lot and it's lasting more than a weekend or two, you're probably not using enough.
Doctor, I want to talk about grilling now. I'm going to be out there on Monday with the grill doing a little barbecuing. How do you know when a grill is properly clean? I know that's an issue that I always seem to run into, cleaning that grill properly. How do you do it?
Well, you know, you can use a nice wire brush to scrub off the debris that's on there, and then when you fire it up, it's going to sterilize anything that was left on there, and it should burn off some of the remaining material. The big issue that you have when you're grilling is many people will turn the grill up too high, will cook the outside of their burgers or their chicken, and it won't cook internally. And that puts you at risk. You know, you should assume that chicken and burger have dangerous bacteria on there when you're starting, and you have to cook it so that the internal temperature is at least 165. If you're not using a thermometer, that means it needs to be brown all the way through. And we want to make sure that when it's done cooking, you don't put it back on that plate that had the raw meat or chicken on there, because you'll contaminate it all over again.
So Doctor, does that mean cooking it for a longer time on a lower flame? Is that the answer there?
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go. You know, your crowd won't be happy if they're having to wait, but you definitely you don't want to overcook it so it chars on the outside. A few other tips: you want to wash your hands before you cook, or use some alcohol sanitizer. Separate your raw food, your salads, from those things that you're going to be cooking. And anything that you're leaving out in the sun for more than 2 hours, at 2 hours, that's the toss time. 2 hours in toss is a good thing to remember. You don't want to see that potato salad sitting there all day long.
Dr. Richard Besser, we appreciate the information and the time as always. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.